The Ice Age thaws. The aliens arrive. The Earth lay in a frozen silence. Its once green and vibrant landscapes now hidden under layers of thick, unyielding ice. A deep chill had settled over the planet for centuries. The great cities of the past were now just echoes, buried beneath glaciers that stretched for miles. The world had been locked in an endless winter for what seemed like an eternity. But what seemed like an insurmountable fate for the planet was about to change forever. Above, in the dark expanse of space, enormous ships glided silently through the void. These weren't ships from Earth. They were alien vessels, sleek and metallic, their hulls reflecting the distant stars. They came from a faraway galaxy, drawn to Earth by a signal that had been sent out millennia ago. They had been searching the universe for life, and they had finally found it here, on this frozen planet. The aliens, having observed Earth from a distance for years, were sure that life had perished when the Ice Age gripped the world. They had monitored the planet's temperature and seen that it had dropped to unimaginable lows. They had expected to find nothing but lifeless ice and snow. They had no idea what they would encounter when they arrived. As the ships entered Earth's atmosphere, they sent out pulses of energy to scan the surface. The alien scanners were designed to detect any signs of life, from the smallest bacteria to the largest animals. But instead of the complete emptiness they expected, something strange appeared on their screens. Faint traces of life were still detectable. The reading was weak, but unmistakable. Life was not completely gone. A sense of disbelief rippled through the alien crew. They had thought Earth's story had ended long ago, buried under ice. Yet now, it seemed as though there was still a flicker of life hidden beneath the frozen surface. Could it be true? Could humanity have survived? The aliens were determined to find out. The lead alien commander gave the order. Begin landing protocol. We need to investigate this anomaly. Prepare for descent. The crew, highly trained and advanced, followed the orders without hesitation. Their ships descended slowly toward the Earth's surface, the snow below growing larger with every passing second. The landscape below was a mixture of endless white plains and frozen mountains. The sky was a dull, grayish blue, with clouds swirling in an eerie dance. The cold was almost unbearable, even for the alien ships, which were designed to withstand extreme conditions. As they touched down, the aliens observed the desolate beauty of the frozen world. This was not what they had expected. Outside the ships, everything was eerily quiet. The wind howled across the barren terrain, carrying with it a sense of lifelessness. The aliens moved swiftly, scanning the area for any signs of life. They found no animals, no plants, only ice and snow stretching endlessly in all directions. But their scans continued, and as they ventured further into the icy world, something caught their attention. It was faint, almost undetectable, but it was there, the traces of something human. The aliens adjusted their equipment, focusing on the signal. Slowly, the readings became clearer. There were remnants of old human structures, half buried under the snow. Skyscrapers, houses, and monuments, all frozen in time. They were amazed. These buildings, despite being buried for centuries, still held strong. The humans had once lived here, thriving in a world of technology and progress. But what had happened to them? How had they survived the Ice Age? The commander led the team towards the ruins. As they approached, they began to notice strange markings. On the buildings, symbols of a forgotten civilization, half covered in frost. These markings told a story that had been frozen in time, waiting to be uncovered. The aliens carefully brushed the snow away, revealing ancient technology that had survived the cold. Their eyes widened in astonishment. The technology wasn't like anything they had ever seen before. It was advanced, and yet it was buried under the weight of centuries of ice. This is impossible, one of the alien scientists muttered under his breath. How did they survive? How did they keep their technology intact? The commander was equally puzzled. We need to find answers, he ordered. Scan the area. Find any survivors. This could be the discovery of a lifetime. The crew fanned out, their scanners worry and clicking as they searched the area. They found signs of life in strange places, hidden chambers beneath the ice, pockets of warmth, where life had managed to cling on. It was as if the humans had adapted to the frozen world, finding ways to live despite the harsh conditions. But how? The aliens had no answers yet, only more questions. As the sun began to set, the cold grew even more intense. The wind picked up, howling through the ruins. But the aliens did not retreat. They pressed on, their determination unwavering. They knew that something monumental was unfolding in front of them. The fate of humanity, long thought to be sealed by the Ice Age, was now shrouded in mystery. The commander turned to his crew. This planet may still hold the answers to questions we never thought to ask. We will uncover the truth. Humanity did not die out. They survived. The team continued their exploration, unaware that what they were about to discover would shake their understanding of survival, technology, and what it truly meant to endure. The Ice Age may have been ending, but the story of humanity was far from over. Discovering the survivors as the alien team delved deeper into the ruins. The air grew colder, and the shadows stretched longer. The sun, weak in this frozen world, barely lit the landscape, casting everything in an eerie glow. The alien scanners were now focused on a particular area, a cluster of underground structures that appeared to have been shielded from the harsh cold above. These strange signs of life were more than just remnants. They were growing stronger by the second. Something's down there, the commander said, his voice tinged with both confusion and excitement. The team gathered around, their attention fixed. On the readings, the scans revealed several life signs deep underground, faint but unmistakable. Humans were still alive. For a moment, there was silence. The discovery seemed impossible. How could anyone survive down here for centuries in such a frozen wasteland? The aliens had assumed that humanity had perished, lost to time and nature's unyielding power. But this was different. The humans were still here, hidden from the cold, protected somehow from the Ice Age that had once engulfed the entire planet. The commander signaled to his team, "Prepare to dig. We need to uncover this. There are survivors below us." They worked quickly, using advanced technology to break through the thick ice that had buried these underground chambers. As the ice cracked and shifted, a hidden doorway appeared before them. It wasn't just a simple shelter, it was a complex structure, large and elaborate, designed to protect those who had been forced to seek refuge below. The technology was far more advanced than the aliens had anticipated, and its preservation under the ice seemed impossible. It was clear now the humans had been far more resourceful than anyone could have imagined. With the doors of the underground facility now open, the team stepped inside. What they saw was beyond their wildest expectations. The chamber was warm, far warmer than the freezing world above. A faint hum of machinery echoed through the air, evidence of long-standing operations. The walls were lined with old technology, some of it still functioning. It looked like a forgotten laboratory, its systems still alive, sustaining whatever remained inside. As the team ventured further into the chamber, they were met with a sight that stunned them all. In one corner, there were cryogenic pods, each one containing a human frozen in time. The aliens had found them, the last remnants of humanity. The pods were an eerie sight, their occupants perfectly preserved, their faces peaceful in their eternal sleep. The humans inside had been placed here, protected from the icy world outside. The aliens could see that the technology in this underground haven was more advanced than anything they had ever encountered. These are not just survivors. They were preserved intentionally, one of the alien scientists muttered. Someone or something must have created this sanctuary for them. But that wasn't all. As the team continued their exploration, they discovered other chambers, each one filled with evidence of human ingenuity. Some chambers held old records and data, while others contained machinery that had been carefully maintained over the centuries. The humans had clearly planned for their survival, and they had managed to preserve more than just themselves. The facility was a testament to their resilience. The team came across another room, this one more unusual than the rest. Here, the walls were covered in strange markings and symbols. They looked like an ancient language, one the aliens had never encountered before. The symbols told a story, a history of survival, struggle, and hope. The humans who had lived here had left behind their knowledge, their legacy, preserved in these walls. The aliens were beginning to understand that humanity hadn't just been trying to survive, they had been working to rebuild, to thrive again in a world that seemed determined to destroy them. As the team continued to investigate, they began to piece together a staggering realization. The humans had known the Ice Age was coming. Long before the cold had taken over the Earth, they had planned for it. They had constructed these underground facilities as safe havens, and some of the humans inside the cryogenic pods had been placed there intentionally, as part of a long-term survival strategy. The aliens couldn't comprehend how the humans had known such a catastrophe was coming, but it was clear that they had prepared for the worst. The commander stood silently, staring at the preserved humans in the cryogenic pods. A deep respect for these survivors began to form in him. They were not just weak creatures huddled in fear. No, they had fought for their survival, and now they were standing as a testament to human perseverance. They had faced the end of the world and still found a way to survive. "This changes everything," the commander said, breaking the silence. "We've been searching for civilizations across the galaxy, but none have shown this kind of determination. These humans, ... they were not just survivors. They were conquerors of fate itself." But even as the aliens marveled at the humans' ingenuity, another question lingered in the air. Were there still any humans left alive above ground? The scanners were now showing strange, irregular readings, small pockets of life in the frozen world. Some of the humans, it seemed, had not been frozen at all. They had somehow adapted to the freezing conditions. Were they the last of humanity? And if so, what had they become? The aliens didn't have the answers yet, but they knew they had to find out. The story of humanity's survival was only just beginning to unfold. Asterisk. The secrets of humanity's survival. The air inside the underground facility was thick with the scent of aged technology, the hum of machinery barely audible over the soft echo of the aliens' footsteps. With each step deeper into the labyrinthine complex, they uncovered more than they had ever imagined. The cryogenic pods, once thought to hold the last of humanity, were only the beginning. Now, the team was faced with evidence of something far more extraordinary, something hidden beneath the ice that spoke to human ingenuity, determination, and survival against all odds. One of the alien scientists, her face aglow with a mixture of awe and confusion, stepped forward to study a strange panel embedded in the wall. It was unlike anything they had encountered before, a mix of organic and mechanical elements, its intricate patterns resembling a hybrid of alien technology and human design. This is not just a shelter, she whispered. This is something much bigger. It's a way of life. As she studied the device, her fingers traced the markings, activating the panel. To the aliens' astonishment, a holographic map appeared, projecting a three-dimensional model of the planet Earth. But this version was not covered in ice. This was a map of a world that had once thrived, a world of vibrant ecosystems, cities, and natural beauty. The map zoomed in, focusing on areas that had been shielded from the cold, places where humanity had not just survived, but adapted and flourished. It's a blueprint, the commander said, his voice filled with wonder. Humanity didn't just hide from the ice. They made plans to fight it. They knew it was coming, and they built not only for survival, but for the future. The map displayed various underground networks, hidden cities, and geothermal zones where humans had harnessed the planet's heat to survive. The aliens realized that the humans had not only anticipated the Ice Age, but had developed advanced systems to shield themselves from it. They had tapped into the Earth's natural energy sources deep below the surface, where the temperature was stable. These underground cities had been their refuge, designed to withstand extreme cold and provide for every need. Further exploration led them to more astonishing discoveries. In one chamber, they found a series of ancient books, their pages yellowed with age, but still intact. These books contained detailed records of humanity's attempts to preserve their species. They chronicled the stories of those who had worked tirelessly to ensure that the human race would continue, even in the harshest of environments. Some records spoke of experiments in genetic adaptation, others of ingenious ways to cultivate food in darkness and cold. Humanity had done what they could to adapt to their environment, ensuring that the legacy of their civilization would not be forgotten. But there was more. As the team sifted through these ancient texts, they uncovered evidence of something far more chilling, something that made the aliens' hearts race with uncertainty. The humans had not just adapted to the Ice Age. They had begun to manipulate the very environment around them. There were detailed accounts of how humans had altered their genetic makeup to survive the extreme cold. They had used the very technology the aliens had discovered to create specialized genes that allowed them to thrive in sub-zero temperatures. The humans, they've evolved, one of the alien researchers said, his voice shaking with awe. They've adapted in ways we never thought possible. These aren't just survivors anymore. These are something else entirely. The aliens turned their attention to another area of the facility, where the preserved humans in their cryogenic pods seemed to show signs of having been part of this transformation. The scans revealed startling information. The humans had undergone accelerated evolutionary changes while in stasis. Their genetic makeup altered to withstand the freezing temperatures, and perhaps even to tap into the energy that had powered their survival. This is unprecedented, the commander murmured. Humanity didn't just survive the Ice Age. They thrived in it. They bent nature to their will. But with this discovery came a new question. If humanity had evolved in such a way, what had become of them since the Ice Age? Were there still humans above ground, continuing this evolution? Or had they become something entirely different, something unrecognizable to even their creators? The aliens had assumed they were dealing with the remnants of a lost civilization. But what they were uncovering was far more complex, a new chapter in the history of humankind, one that had been shaped by extreme survival and forced adaptation. The commander led the team to the final chamber, one that had remained sealed. Throughout their exploration, here they discovered something that could change the course of their mission entirely. Within this chamber was a vast database, humming with energy, its contents locked behind intricate security protocols. It was the heart of the human survival effort, the true source of their ability to adapt and evolve. The holographic display flickered to life as the aliens worked to unlock the database. The images that appeared on the screen were shocking. They showed the humans using advanced genetic engineering, bioengineering, and even quantum manipulation of their environment. They had not simply lived underground. They had become masters of the Earth's frozen resources. They had unlocked secrets of the planet that no other species had come close to understanding. These humans, the commander whispered, they've become a new kind of life form. The very Earth itself bends to their will. They are not just survivors. They are Earth's new rulers. The implications of this discovery were vast. The aliens now realized that the humans they had once thought were simple survivors were far more advanced than they had ever imagined. These humans had become a force capable of reshaping the planet, even altering the course of evolution itself. The alien team was faced with a choice they had never expected. Should they continue their investigation? Or should they leave Earth and let these evolved humans continue their domination of the planet? But one thing was certain. The story of humanity's survival was far from over. It was only just beginning. Humanity's power revealed the alien team stood in the heart of the ancient human facility, the vast database they had uncovered still glowing before them. The room hummed with the energy of lost knowledge and untold possibilities. The information now available to them was far beyond anything they had hoped for, and it posed a new challenge. What was their role in this new world they had discovered? As the team reviewed the final data from the database, the atmosphere in the chamber shifted. The holographic images on the screens began to blur, flickering between past and present. The aliens watched as humanity's evolution unfolded before their eyes. How the once fragile species had harnessed the raw power of the Earth, using the very ice that had threatened them as a resource to reshape their future. This was no longer the Earth they had studied from space. This was a new world, a world where humanity had become the undisputed force. The commander, his mind racing with the implications of this discovery, turned to his team. "They've done the impossible," he said softly. "They've not only survived the Ice Age, but have come to master the very elements that almost destroyed them. These humans, they've redefined what it means to survive." Suddenly, an alarm blared in the chamber. The holographic map of Earth flared to life again, but this time it showed something entirely different. Pockets of human activity scattered across the surface of the planet. The aliens had been so focused on the underground cities, they had overlooked the signs of life above ground. But now, the scans revealed that humanity was not confined to the depths of the Earth. They had emerged, and they were rebuilding, and they were not alone. The screen zoomed in on one of the regions. It was a city, but unlike anything the aliens had ever seen before. The humans had built a new society, one that seemed to defy the laws of nature. Massive, crystalline structures stretched toward the sky, their surfaces gleaming with an unnatural, otherworldly glow. The city pulsed with energy, but it was the way the humans had used the environment around them that astonished the aliens. The city was powered by geothermal energy, but it was also deeply connected to the ice that had once been their enemy. It was clear now, humanity had learned to harness the very forces that had shaped their survival, bending the planet's energy to their will. One of the alien scientists spoke up, his voice filled with disbelief. They've adapted the ice itself. It's not just a weapon or a resource. They've turned it into a form of life. The aliens were beginning to understand that humanity's evolution had not been limited to just physical survival. They had transcended their biological needs and had become a new kind of species, one that coexisted with the Earth's harshest elements, drawing power from the ice, the land, and even the air itself. But there was more. As the aliens watched the map, they saw something that chilled them to the core. One of the largest cities had been built near a massive frozen glacier, but it was not a typical ice structure. The glacier was alive, pulsating with energy. It seemed to move and shift as though it had a mind of its own. It was no longer just a natural formation. It had become a living, breathing organism, manipulated and controlled by the humans who had learned to communicate with it. This is beyond anything we've ever encountered, the commander murmured. They've fused their technology with the Earth itself. The boundaries between the organic and inorganic have blurred. The aliens, who had always prided themselves on their advanced technology and mastery over the natural world, now found themselves faced with a force they couldn't comprehend. The humans were no longer simply survivors of an ice age. They had become Earth's new architects, reshaping the planet with a blend of technology, biology, and elemental control. They were not just using the Earth's resources. They had become one with it. As the team watched, the glacier in the hologram suddenly erupted in a cascade of ice and energy. The humans had triggered it, using the geothermal power beneath the surface to manipulate the ice. The city around it thrummed with a strange, rhythmic pulse as the humans activated their new power. It was clear humanity had mastered the planet's deepest secrets, and the world they had built was more than just a refuge. It was a living testament to their incredible resilience and innovation. But as the aliens absorbed this new information, a troubling thought began to creep into their minds. The humans had evolved beyond their expectations, but what did that mean for them? The aliens had come to Earth expecting to find a planet that was easy to conquer, a civilization that had fallen to the elements. But now they were facing a species that had not only survived, but had become a force capable of shaping the planet to their will. What if humanity was no longer a civilization to study or observe? What if they were a civilization to fear? The commander turned to his team, his expression grim. We've underestimated them. We've seen their power, their control over the elements. We've seen how they've reshaped the Earth, but we don't know what they're capable of next. If we stay here, we risk everything. The aliens were now at a crossroads. They had come to Earth with one mission, to discover the fate of humanity. But what they had uncovered was more than they had ever imagined. The humans were no longer just survivors. They had evolved into something new, something far more powerful, more dangerous than the aliens had anticipated. The commander turned away from the screen, a heavy decision weighing on him. It's time to leave. We've seen enough. The humans continue their journey. We can't interfere with what they've become. But as the alien ships prepared to leave, a final message appeared on their communication system, sent from the surface of Earth. It was a simple phrase, but it held a weight that made the entire alien team freeze in their tracks. The message: "Read, we are ready." The aliens had come to Earth expecting to find humanity lost to the ice, but now they realized that they were witnessing the beginning of a new era, one where humanity would not just survive, but lead. The Earth had changed, and so had humanity. There was no going back now.